Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today's topic is going to be on using art to cope with the winter blues. This obviously won't speak to everyone, but for those of you that struggle with the lack of sunlight in the winter months, I wanted to offer some ideas for you to engage with colors and connect with symbols to draw from in order to feel a little better. Art is one of those things that allows us to utilize symbols and create metaphors that can be used to develop insight, and often we find that the process of creating is in and of itself something that we can do that's relaxing and engaging and takes your mind off of what you might be dealing with. As we are now about halfway through the winter season, this is typically the time of year when people really begin to feel the physical effects that come from the lack of sunlight. It's common this time of year to start experiencing a general sense of blah, and maybe you're feeling more tired than usual or a little more lethargic. And one very helpful non-art tip that I wanted to share is to just get outside and get some fresh air and be active. I know that seems a little cliche, but hear me out. Movement is a great way to feel better, and so is fresh air. And despite the low levels of sunlight that we experience in the winter, there's still a much brighter source of light outside than there is in any kind of artificial light we have indoors. And so because sunlight, even though it's dim and it's kind of covered in this gray cloud cover that we have, it's still a natural source of light, and our eyes and our bodies are going to respond to that and appreciate that a lot more than the artificial light sources we experience indoors. So bundle up and go outside and take a walk and see if you don't feel a little better. And while you're out there, you can collect a little bit of nature and maybe just observe the textures in your environment that are around you. You could collect some dried flowers or dried seed pods and make yourself a small little winter bouquet. When we observe our environment, we do become a bit more observant in general. This is a practiced skill, but winter is one of these unique times of year that really has a lot of textures for us to explore. Whether it's tracks in the snow or the lack of leaves really lets you see the shape of branches and the bark. There's just a lot of interesting shadows and shapes and things to explore with your eyes other than sunlight. When you're back at home and in your space and ready to make some art, the first thing I have for you today is creating an air-dry clay vase to contain your little winter flower bouquet. I realize these aren't real flowers. Some of them are maybe dried flowers that are left over from the previous season, and some of them may just be seed pods or interesting textures and shapes that you found. You don't need a lot of clay for this project, so if you're just purchasing air dry clay specifically to play, you can get a smaller package and do just fine. And it's pretty inexpensive. You can pick it up at most craft stores. You're gonna first make a circle with your little chunk of clay and then flatten it out. And then here's the twist. We're going to add some wildflower seeds to the center of this clay. And then you're going to lay your winter bouquet on top of it and fold up the clay and form the vase around the bouquet with the wildflower seeds inside. Once you have that done, you can just begin to form the vase in whatever shape you want. You could be pretty creative with this. I kind of made a basic vase shape for the demonstration purposes, but you could get sculptural and really make it look like anything you want. And then after you're finished creating your vase, you're going to let it dry, probably about 24 hours, and then you can paint it. I'm going to use a non-toxic, eco-friendly paint because this is going to be going back into the earth, but you can use whatever kind of paint you have on hand. So I would suggest using a warm, sunny color to paint your vase, but you can do this any color you like. And you're just going to paint it and place it somewhere where you're going to see it every day. And it's just supposed to represent the symbol of hope that spring is going to be coming soon. So if you want to keep this on a shelf or your desk or your workspace, whatever it is, it's just so that it's a constant visual reminder to be hopeful and to remember that winter is not going to last forever. when spring does finally come, because of the seed inside, you can take this and either like crush it, break it up, or even just loosely plant it in soil, whether it's in your own garden or some outdoor space that you're able to plant seeds in. And it's just this idea as a metaphor for regeneration, and kind of shows us in a visual, physical sense what the seasons embody. The next tip I have for you is to surround yourself with warm colors. When we say things like feeling blue, we're using blue as a description for sad, and also referencing blue as a cool color. Warm colors would be colors that are in the family of red, orange, and yellow, colors of fire and sunlight, and that's why we call them warm. Then, drawing on the idea of using the sun as imagery, we can also reference the sun as a symbol for hope. You can incorporate this into your art, either drawing little symbols of the sun or using circles to kind of emulate that sun-like quality, and just focusing your thoughts on how it feels to be enveloped by the warmth of the sun. Again, this is something that you can explore through a variety of media. You don't have to just create one specific work of art. You can paint or process with these warm colors just for the joy of painting and creating and de-stressing. You could also include different sketches or drawings of the sun, and note any thoughts or connections or insights that you might have made, even other types of metaphors or analogies. Another fun tip with this idea of the sun becoming a new symbol for hope is to search for sun symbols out in the world, wherever you are, and see if you can find any. Adults, in my opinion, have forgotten how to have innocent fun, and often we become too serious or too focused on work, and we forget about when we're kids. We do these kinds of things all the time. Nobody else needs to know that you're scanning a new space for a sun symbol. But when you do find one, it might make you smile, and smile brings joy. So if you find a sun somewhere, you can mark it down in your journal, or you just enjoy the moment and have this little insight moment with yourself where you're like, yes, and feel some sense of connectivity to the world around you. Another way to play with the sun is to make yourself some type of sun ornament. You could do this out of paper or air dry clay. If you do it out of paper, you can collage it and create however you want, and maybe hang it up on a wall somewhere. If you do it with air dry clay, you're going to want to let it dry after you've sculpted your sun, and then you could paint it afterward, and you just hang it up and keep it around. And honestly, if you fill your space with little symbols of the sun, it will just keep you constantly thinking about hope and regeneration and the fact that spring is on its way. Pretty soon, the outdoor world will be filled with sunshine and new life and new plant growth, and the days will continue to grow longer and a new season will begin. Even when things feel a little gloomy and stagnant, the sun is still rising and the wheel is always turning. There is an obvious connection between seasons in a physical, natural sense and the seasons of our lives. We don't always enjoy or easily connect with the season that we're currently in our life, and that could be true with seasons of nature. But what we can do is address the things we don't like and work to improve what we can, and then learn to accept what we can't change. Every season of life has a lesson to share. And I feel that winter teaches us about stillness and patience and learning to be present. In doing so, we develop resilience. And resilience is something that can help us overcome all sorts of things throughout our lives. A little quote that I found that I really liked is, "Hope is like the sun, which, as we journey toward it, casts the shadow of our burdens behind us." And that's what I have for you today. I hope this inspired a few ideas for you to draw from and helps you feel a little bit warmer as you wait for spring to come. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks surrounding all things art and wellness. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.